What's up, everyone? I'm Virginie from Better Music, and this is my podcast, Better Minds. On this podcast, we will have conversations about life, health, struggles, and music. I hope this place will make you feel loved and safe, and I really hope this place will make you feel like you can fully be yourself. Thank you so much for listening. Welcome to this brand new episode of Better Minds. Today I will be sharing with you a conversation with Marta Palombo. We had a really nice chat about thyroid cancer and all the emotions she had to face during that process, as well as her healing process. And obviously we also talked about music. I really want this podcast to be about mental and physical health and music. I think I'm getting there episode after episode, and I am hoping to have more guests willing to talk about these topics. I hope you like this one. Thank you so much for being here. So you're cancer-free.
I am cancer-free officially, yes.
Oh my God, congrats.
Thank you.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a crazy summer for that, yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a bit.
Sure.
So you had thyroid cancer, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe we can tell the people what a thyroid is.
Yeah. I mean, it's so basically it's in your neck, and it's right kind of at the base of your neck, right here, and it kind of is shaped like a little butterfly. It just like sits like this, and it's pretty small. It's nothing crazy. But apparently it's, I didn't know this obviously beforehand, but apparently thyroid cancer is incredibly common. So many people have had it.
Yeah.
And it is mostly something that affects like young women, like I think 25 to 40 is the like age range where it's most common. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been studying a lot about thyroid issues because I have Graves' disease. I even have a Facebook group about that. So I've been learning a lot. And yeah, so many people have cancer and other issues, and so many people in general just have thyroid issues. And I think that's so crazy. I don't know about the US, but in France, we have so many people struggling with that.
Mm-hmm. No, we do here as well. I mean, so many people, it's such a common, like the surgery for it is so common just because not even just for cancer, but people have to get their thyroid taken out all the time for things. So
it's crazy. But yeah, how and when did you know you had cancer?
So I went for just a normal checkup at the doctor's. I go once a year. And the doctor there was the one that noticed it because I wasn't noticing anything. But she asked if I had always had kind of just like some asymmetry in my neck and just like having one side of my neck that's a little bit bigger than the other. And I was like, no, I don't think anyone's ever told me that. So I don't think so. And so she did, a bunch of blood work and had a couple other tests ordered for me, and the crazy thing was that my blood work was completely fine. So there was nothing wrong with my thyroid levels according to the blood work, despite the fact that I had cancer. And I wasn't, showing any thyroid issues or symptoms or anything like that. But she had me go ahead and do an ultrasound, and then based on the ultrasound, they were like, there's something there. Let's do a biopsy. So then they did the biopsy. And then that was when obviously they were like, okay, so it's cancer. We need to go ahead and get surgery and get it taken out. So,
wow.
Yeah. And that all happened in the span of like a month, basically. So it was very fast.
Did you even have time to process
everything?
No,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, it was, the checkup that I had with my doctor was April 22nd. And then we did the ultrasound like 2 or 3 days later. And then at the beginning of May, I did the biopsy, and then I had to wait a whole week for them to get back to me about the biopsy. And on May 16th is when they confirmed that it looked like it was cancer, so we were going to have to proceed with just what cancer treatment would be, so the surgery. And then June 16th, which was a month later, was the surgery. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you had good doctors.
Yes, for sure. And I'm very grateful that I went, and very grateful that the doctor was someone who didn't just do the basic tests and say like, okay, well, your thyroid levels look normal and you look normal and there's nothing wrong, so we'll just wait it out. Like, I'm very glad that she kind of followed her instincts to do a bunch of follow-up tests. And every step of the way they were like, thyroid issues are so common, like it's totally not cancer. And then finally we got to the end of it and they were like, yep, it's cancer. Like, oh, okay, great.
Man, I would have been so stressed and anxious.
It was very stressful. Yeah, it was very stressful. I'm not gonna.
What did you feel when you first learned about it?
Well, I was just terrified because obviously I'm a singer, so anything relating to my neck is like off limits. Like, you can do whatever you want to me, but like this area of my body from like my mouth to my chest is just off limits. So obviously, the universe was like, you need cancer on your neck. But I was just very scared for that. And it wasn't a reasonable fear because the actual chances of having like vocal complications from a thyroid removal surgery are close to 0%. I think that the actual number is like 1% for any sort of permanent damage and 2% for like temporary damage. So it's like as close to zero as you can get in the medical field, But yeah, still that wasn't really something that I wanted to even have to think about. So there was just I think it was just a lot of fear. There was just a lot of fear in there.
Yeah, but but I watched some documentaries about that, and some people did have issue with their vocals. Mm-hmm. And that's so scary.
Yeah. And it's it's not, obviously it's all kind of there. They're not really going into your vocal cords, but the nerves that control your vocal cords are under there. So it's not an uncommon side effect, but it's very, very low chance that it happens. And so I was lucky because obviously I live here in Nashville, and we have Vanderbilt as our kind of like main hospital here. And they're also a university, and so it's just the amount of study and innovation that's constantly going on at Vanderbilt is great. And specifically, we have the Vanderbilt Voice Center, which is, I don't know about internationally, but definitely nationally is known as like one of the best places to go for any sort of vocal issue for treatment. And so that was the really nice thing, because obviously I landed under like the ear, nose, and throat area of things, and that's where the Voice Center is. And so they were super accommodating every step of the way with me, wanting to, like, I always wanted to like call them and talk to their doctors and be like, okay, I get that they're telling me that I need this surgery, but like, what do you guys say as like vocal specialists? What is your opinion? And so they were always incredibly helpful with saying like, yes, you need to get the surgery. Like, it needs to happen. And here's
crap.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but they were like, this isn't a problem yet, but it's gonna be a problem if you just don't do anything about it. So like, you need to get it taken out. Here's the statistics. Here's the percentages. Here's what we're looking at. Here's what we recommend for your voice, which was basically like, just do the surgery. It's gonna be okay. And they were incredibly helpful, just talking me through everything that I would be feeling during recovery and everything that I could do before surgery. And Yeah, they were just always incredibly responsive and helpful and very considerate. And the doctor at the voice center specifically recommended me for the surgeon that I had. He was like, if you are a vocalist, you want to get the surgery done by this person. And so that was a huge relief for me, because I knew that whoever I was going in to get the surgery with, they had been directly recommended by voice specialists. And my surgeon was amazing. I mean, she was awesome. So
Amazing.
yeah,
We're with the best people, so I'm glad about that.
yeah, yeah. It was a good. I mean, not good. It wasn't a great situation, but it was a good combination of, circumstances and people, and everyone was very kind and accommodating, and yeah.
So what did you have to do before the surgery?
Nothing. Really, they basically said at the voice center, they were like, the most that you can do before this surgery, like there's no prep that you need to do. The most that you can do is just talk to voice specialists and make sure that you are getting the right surgeon for the job. And that is exactly what you're doing. So you're good. And I was like, okay, all right. So there really wasn't anything to prep before the surgery. Yeah.
And how did your diagnosis affect your relationships with family and friends?
Well, they definitely got stronger. I have a great, my parents are spectacular. My family's amazing. And I have a great group of friends. We've been friends for like over 10 years at this point. Some of them probably like 13, 14. Can't remember what the oldest math is here, but definitely over 10 years. And they were incredible during all of this. Actually, during the week after I got my diagnosis, we were all supposed to go on a cabin trip, because they live 4 hours away. They live in Georgia and I live in Tennessee. And so we were supposed to take that trip anyway, but now, especially after getting the diagnosis, we were all like, okay, we need to go. We need to just sit on the couch and have a good cry and just like be together. And that was exactly what I needed. And we did a bunch of like cleansing rituals and things like that. We just had a good time together, and just took some time to sit with it and process. And they've always been great. They were the first witnesses to like every single breakdown that I had throughout this whole thing. And my parents have obviously been amazing. They came down to Nashville for the surgery as well. And I obviously called them like every day before that, just being like, hi, can I talk? And just like process things. So they've all just been great. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting to see. I guess the more interesting aspect has been like people outside of my family and friends, because I had such a great relationship with my family and friends already that like I knew I was going to get the support from them that I needed, and I knew that they were going to be there for me. And it's just been more interesting to see how other people react to just like news about people having cancer in their lives, like, coworkers and acquaintances and, people that I maybe don't spend as much time with, before and after. All of that has been an interesting, like, just an interesting view into the world that I would not have had if I hadn't had cancer.
Yeah. When you say cancer, people are like,
people
oh
react in a lot of different ways. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? That's my biggest fear, to have cancer.
Mine too. And then and it's one of those things where it's interesting, because it's not that I never thought that I would get cancer. I feel like cancer is unfortunately a common enough thing that I figured that at some point in my life, like maybe when I was like way older, maybe it would be like skin cancer, or maybe it would be like, I knew that, I feel like at some point I was like, at some point in my life I might, but like when I'm way older, right? Like it's like a thing that doesn't happen to people in their 20s. So it's not that I was one of those people that was like, oh, I'm never going to get cancer, but I definitely didn't think that it was going to be like in my 20s, and I also didn't think that it was going to be in the one area of my body that I really don't want
Yeah.
anything to go wrong in. So yeah.
Did you experience any changes in your voice after the
No.
surgery? Not at all.
No, it was, I mean, my voice was, it hurt to talk, but that was mostly because the, basically the way that they described it is I had to be under anesthesia. So they had, they put in a breathing tube, and that just causes like a sore throat. But it's not like, my voice was fine immediately after surgery. It just hurt to talk because my throat was so sore. So I just didn't talk for a day or two, unless I absolutely needed to. And then the only thing that was a little different was, and they had told me that this was going to be the case. They said that the first 2 weeks I was going to feel a little bit weaker, just because there was like so much, swelling and healing that's going on in this area that my larynx just wasn't going to be able to like move and do the things that it can usually do for a second. So they said, you can talk immediately, but it's going to be 2 weeks before you feel completely normal, like 100%. And then 4 weeks before I could resume like physical activity, which in my case also included singing. So I needed to not do any like difficult singing for 4 weeks. And that was exactly accurate. I feel like for the first 2 weeks, I couldn't really speak very loudly. Like I didn't have my normal like speaking voice volume. And I think this is because of just like movement. I couldn't really speak very low, which is interesting because my speaking voice is pretty low usually. And so I felt like I was just kind of talking up here a lot, which isn't wrong, but I was like, I'm usually a little lower than this. Like that's, and I think that's just because, it couldn't move as low. There was just a lot happening, And then as soon as the 2 weeks were up, like by the time I got to the end of the 2 weeks, I realized that, my speaking voice was back, the volume was back, the range was back, everything was normal. And by that point, I felt like I could go ahead and sing, but I just didn't for a few more weeks, because that way I could let the 4 weeks fully pass. But there was no, like, other than just like healing, there were no changes. And the nice thing is too that they were able to tell me that there were no changes, because what they have is the breathing tube that they use has a ton of sensors on it. And so it is constantly sending them information about if they're getting close to any of the nerves for your vocal cords, if everything is functioning normally. Like they're able to get through the surgery and know that everything is responding and working exactly as it's supposed to. And so that's exactly what they told me. They were like, the surgery went well, your voice is fine, everything is all good. It's just going to be tired for a little while.
That is
so that
interesting.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. And that was kind of my biggest concern, because I was like, I don't want to have the surgery and then have to like wait for 4 weeks before I find out if there's anything wrong.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were able to tell me immediately, like, everything in your body is working the way that it's supposed to, you just need to take some time and heal. That was a huge, huge relief.
Yeah, I bet. And you do have to take medication now, right?
Yes.
For the rest of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's-
And at first
yeah.
they were hoping, up until I went into the surgery, they were hoping that they could just do half of my thyroid, because the cancer was just on the right side. And so that was the plan that, like, I fell asleep thinking that they were only going to take half of it out, because that was the plan that we had decided on. And then, of course, the surgeon was like, I don't think that this is going to happen, but if we get in there and we see that there's a little bit more that we need to take out, then we'll go ahead and take it all out. But I'm thinking we're just going to go for half. And so I was like, okay, great. And the nice thing about half of the removal is that I was probably likely not going to have to take medication. But then they got in there and there was more stuff than they were expecting, so they had to take it all out. So now I do have to take, it's just one pill a day. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't take it, it's going to be bad. So
Yes, exactly.
also my biggest fear to have surgery.
It's not fun. I mean, everything was fine, and I'm sure that that's, yeah. I think that's been the weird part about talking about it as well, is that like everything is fine, and it wasn't like a super serious form of cancer. So I sometimes feel bad like making a big deal out of it, but then at the same time I'm like, yeah, this sucked. Like
It does suck.
this was not fun. But you know, I am also someone who's terrified of surgery and just things being done to my body that are not like specifically my control and under my influence, you know? And so that was definitely a thing to deal with. But honestly, having the right surgeon was everything, because I was so nervous until I met her. And then first off, for me, like having a female surgeon was like, I was so relieved having a female surgeon, just because it's like, it's just an extra layer of comfort to be like, okay, if I am like super emotional or crying or like panicking, which I absolutely was doing all of those things for like every appointment and up until they put me to sleep. Like I was for sure panicking. Like I just feel more comfortable being able to feel like that if I know that there's like a female surgeon attending to me. And she was just so lovely and empathetic and so calming to be around. So after I met her and she talked me through everything that was going to happen in the surgery, I went into it feeling a lot better than I had.
Yeah. You had the right person, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you do have a beautiful scar. I can see it.
I do. Yeah. And I just had a follow-up visit with my surgeon yesterday. And so she gave me the okay to just put sunscreen over it, because up until now I've had to either do band-aids or scarves, like I have to keep it like fully covered. But she said that it's healed enough now that I can just do some sunscreen to keep it.
Did you have to put some cream to heal?
I just used Aquaphor, which is kind of like Vaseline, similar texture, just something very hydrating. I had a bunch of it because when I got a couple of tattoos in the past like few years, Aquaphor is what they recommend to put over it to heal it. So I just had it, which was nice, and I have an arsenal of band-aids now, because it's really hard to actually find a good band-aid for like this part of your body. Like they're either too big or they just don't stick right, or they're like, it's just a weird area of your body to have to cover. So I just have a ton of band-aids now.
It's a beautiful scar.
It is, yeah, it's gonna heal really well. And honestly, I don't mind having a scar. Like that was never my concern. I was like, it's fine. If it's visible, if it's not visible, like that's the least of my worries.
It makes you cool. It makes you edgy.
It does, you know. I told my friend, I told my friend when I got it, I was like, okay, so for Halloween this year, we need to pair up, and I need to have like a slit throat kind of thing. Like I need to do like special effects makeup on the scar or something, and you need to have a sword.
Love that. So how has your perspective on life changed since your diagnosis?
I mean, I think I've always been a very, very big proponent of like prioritizing the things that make you happy in life. I think even for one of the first times that we worked together, I wrote an open letter that was all about like how, you know, expectations of success and stuff, like all of those things should not have any effect on how you live your life and do what you love to do. So it's not like I had some crazy revelation or anything like that, but I definitely had to slow down for a month, for like those 4 weeks. And I definitely took a second to think about the things that actually made me happy during my, like, the 2 months of diagnosis and then the month of like resting afterwards. And I was like, you know what I really didn't get any joy from? I definitely didn't care about posting on social media. Like I definitely didn't care about like marketing and promotion. Like I still did all of those things because I during this whole process I had a new single come out. So I was like, okay, I have to promote this. I have to push this. But it was definitely just this 2 to 3 month process of being like, okay, the things that are actually making me happy right now are making music and being creative and rotting on my couch with a good book and being around my friends and my family. Like none of the things that we associate with like commercial success are the things that are making me happy right now. And so I think that in a lot of ways, like I always try to remember that, but it's especially in these past couple months, it was a very physical reminder that like it's okay to just exist and do the things that make you happy and not have to be constantly thinking about putting it out into the world or having other people listen to it or promoting it or like turning it into a career or anything like that. So just a good physical reminder of that. Social media ads are great because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to set these parameters and just like let that run. I just like let some social media ads run for a couple months. I was like, you take care of the outreach and I'm just going to post when I feel like posting and I'm going to do what I need to do.
Yes.
So I kind of tried to set some things up so that, and luckily for me, I batch create content a lot. So I had all of this content that was just ready to go. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to post what I have ready to post. I'm going to run these ads. I'm going to let the plan that I already had just sort of unfold. And I'm going to allow myself some grace to not rework things and not pivot. Because usually, you know, in the whole process of promoting something, there's like opportunities that come up or things that you're like, oh, let's do this instead. And I was like, okay, for once, I'm just going to let the plan run exactly as I had intended it. And if it's not 100% the best process, that's okay. I'm just going to let it run because that's what I planned for. And that's all that I have the energy for right now because there's a lot of other stuff that I need to be keeping my brain on. Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
We often overthink with social media.
Yes. Yeah. All the time.
Way too much.
Yeah.
So how did your experience with cancer influence your music?
Honestly, not too much because I already have a very emotional process for writing. I'm not someone who really sits down to write on a schedule or I'm trying to think of the right wording for this, but you know, songwriters who do this like as a job that have publishing deals and stuff, they'll often, you know, go into co-writes, and that's part of their job is being able to sort of come up with things on the spot and be creative on the spot. And I've never put that kind of pressure on myself to have to write a certain amount or at certain intervals. I just sort of let inspiration happen wherever it's going to happen and whenever it's going to happen. And that means that sometimes I write a lot and sometimes I write less. So going through the whole process of having cancer, it was obviously I had a lot that I needed to get out and process and talk about and think about. So I definitely wrote quite a few songs. but it wasn't abnormal to like my creative process usually. I just had more to think about, so I had more to say.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
can't wait to hear those songs.
Thank you. And we'll see if I release them. I'm not sure yet. Maybe. Maybe or maybe not.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can't wait.
I'll definitely like post them. I think I'll definitely put them out somewhere somehow. I'm still deciding if it's more of a project that I do for myself or something that I want to, you know, fully produce and put out in a traditional sense.
Yeah. So how did your music evolve over the years?
Oh, a lot.
Let's say since we met.
Yes. Yeah. I think that when we met, around the time that we met, that was when I fully solidified the sound that I wanted. I think up until then, I had a lot of ideas and I had a lot of different directions that I wanted to go, but I hadn't quite solidified how all of those ideas and all of those directions could go into one cohesive brand and one cohesive sound. And I think that around the time that we met, around 2020, I released an EP. It's called Hymn Volume 1. I'm working on Volume 2 right now. I'm excited for Volume 2. But the EP Hymn Volume 1 was the first time that I really sat down and made an incredibly complicated release plan for things. And I really dove into collaborating and working with producers that I liked and videographers that I liked. It was also my first time doing a release in Nashville. And so I think before that, because I was young, and then also because I was in not a city that is full of music professionals all the time, I was just sort of working with myself and working with whoever I had around me that I thought could be a good fit. And then when I moved to Nashville and started working on this EP, that was when I was like, okay, there's a million producers here. So I need to find the one that I actually really want to work with. And there's a million videographers and people that can help me with photography and visuals. So I need to find the people that really get it and really understand what I'm trying to go for. And I think that marked the EP where I really found my sound. And I've been working with a lot of the same people since that EP for the past 5 years. So it's been a lot of working with people that I trust and building relationships with them and building long-term relationships with them as well. And just along the way, trying to find people that I think are passionate about the art and the music and passionate about making cool art. Yeah, that's been a little bit of the evolution, I guess, is just really honing in on who I want to work with and what I want the sound and the vision to be, rather than just trying to make something happen because I know I can make it happen.
Yeah. I can see and hear the evolution, you know, because I've been following you for a while. So
Yeah.
and when I saw those amazing visuals, I was like, wow, it's like a movie.
Yeah, that was such a special project. So Loveliness Made Damned was, it wasn't even that I had planned for it to be as big as it was. I just, again, it's one of those things where like I just write the songs and then try to figure out what kind of world the songs need to live in and what kind of world I want to bring people into. And as soon as I wrote the first of those 4 songs, I was like, oh, this is going to be like a concept EP. Like this is going to be a series of songs, but they're all going to run together. And I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but that's the idea. And then the more that I started writing them, I started getting all these images in my head, and I was like, man, I think every single one of these songs needs a music video. And then I was like, No, they need more than a music video. They need like a whole visual album. And it got even bigger when I brought David on board, who was the videographer, because I was trying to figure out how to do this like in the Nashville and surrounding areas, because I was like, that's where we have our resources. That's where we live, you know? And so it got even bigger when he came on board, because he was like, well, we should go to Washington. And my parents live in Seattle. And I was like, well, great. Our area of resources just expanded, and now it's in the perfect place, because that was the perfect place to just find these beautiful forests with these huge trees and just go running through the trees. So again, with, working with the right people, I could have worked with someone that would have stayed within the limits of that vision. And instead I worked with an amazing person who was like, no, we can make this bigger. I was like, all right, perfect.
Love that. See, you are an artist because you have a true vision of what you want to create. And it's not just about the music to me, it's about visuals too, because visuals are so key to me, I think. Because when you have those two things, I think it makes a big difference as an artist, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it definitely does. And I feel like I am, I've always been someone that's more interested in the music and the visuals as opposed to really anything else about the songs. Like I to this day don't really follow a lot of artists on social media. I don't really keep up with what they're up to in their personal lives, or like follow, their stories or the things that they're doing. I basically only just listen to what they have to say when it's in a musical format. And to me, that usually informs so much of their personal life. Like you can not know anything about them, but know exactly what they've been going through, because they release an album of songs that documents exactly what they were feeling for a period in their life. And so for me, as someone who's not really interested in anything outside of just like that essential piece of the music and the visuals are so important for telling a story the way that you want it to be told. And that's all that I really prioritize when I listen to music. So it makes me want to prioritize it when I'm making the music, because that's what I love and that's what I care about.
Keep doing that.
Thank you. I definitely will, because everything else is kind of secondary. I always think that marketing should be about promoting music the way that you want other people to see it, and not the way that it should be done. So just make the art and then figure out how to promote it afterwards.
Exactly. And be yourself when you do it.
Be yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely be yourself. You can tell if someone's not, I don't know, I feel like you can tell when someone's not being authentically themselves in the work that they're doing.
Yeah,
like
true.
There's like something held back about it,
So what's the hardest part about being an artist right now? Besides social media.
I'm going to say noise. Yeah. Noise. Just because noise can come from a lot of different directions. Some of it is social media, some of it is, I think it's beautiful and amazing that anybody can release music. I am so happy that we are no longer in a period of time where like you need a label or you need a connection to even just release it. Like now anybody can sign up for CD Baby or DistroKid or TuneCore or whatever and just put music out. And I think that is amazing. And I hope that never changes. But it also means that so many more people can be artists. And so there's it's just the usual like supply and demand. There's a ton of people putting out music, so there's a lot of noise to compete against in terms of making your own music heard. And I would much rather have that than not being able to release music or not being able to hear what other people have to say. But it is still kind of a struggle. There's just a lot. There's a lot of music out there. And there's noise from, people telling you what you should do or how you should write or how you should market things or what the best strategies are. There's just a lot of input that's coming at you in a lot of ways. There's all these catchy titles of like, here's how you get 1 million Spotify streams, or like, and people have made whole careers out of that, out of just like, trying to tell people how they should do things. And I think that if you have people on your team that, again, are genuinely interested in the music and finding out how to market the music that you've authentically made, I think that's awesome. I love it when I work with people that are like, how about we try this strategy? I'm like, yes, thank you. Great. Let's give it a shot. Why not? If it feels good, if it feels authentic, yeah, let's go for it. But I don't like people that guarantee you anything, really. I don't really trust people that guarantee you anything in the music industry.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm like, you don't know how this is going to go.
I worked with many people, and they would always force the artist to be someone else or to do something else because it's going to be bigger if you do this thing or that thing. And I never liked that, because if you are an artist, you know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, we can help you figure out everything. But yeah, you have to be yourself, and the people working with you are just here to help you figure out how to do it and not force you. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can force them for, you have to post a little bit on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe release a song here and there. But if you're an artist, you know what to write, you know what to sing, you know everything.
Yeah. And I think I always appreciate working with people that allow me to think about things differently. Like if you tell me, you need to post this amount of times and it should be these kinds of posts and it's at this time, whatever. Like if you have all of these like very specific rules and answers to social media, I think it's social media or really anything else. If you have like rules that you abide by, I feel like that immediately turns me off, because I'm like,
same.
Okay, but what if my life doesn't fit that exact schedule? Or like, like we all have, like our lives all look different. So everyone's going to post or be present or promote in whatever capacity that they can for the life that they're living. And I think that is really important. And so I think I always appreciate working with people that say like, oh, the song is about this, so why don't we try this strategy, rather than just being like, you released a song, here's how we're gonna market it.
Why don't we try?
Yeah,
that's the right question.
Why don't we try things? Yeah. And when there are ideas that feel authentic to who you are as a brand or as a person, I think that's so much more fun too. Like it makes me want to do the marketing.
Yeah. It's like having a good communication with the people you work with.
Yes.
And have the same goal.
How do you, I'm curious on your side of things, in terms of, I feel like there's a lot of artists sometimes that want to promote things, but they don't quite know like who they are or what their brand is yet. And so I feel like that would be so hard to hear as someone on the other side of things, and to like help them try to find what
Yeah.
that is. And I wonder if you've done you've had so many different roles in the music industry. I wonder like what your experience has been with just trying to help artists find themselves a little bit.
Yeah, I just try to learn a lot about them and figure out who they are as a person. So if you are a very emotional person, or if you are a very, you know, hyperactive person or whatever, I really try to figure out who the person is by just talking to them and listening to their songs. And if they don't know who they are, I usually tell them to do simple posts and not make it too difficult or too, you know, weird or not normal. Just really simple stuff. And yeah, I always try to know a lot about them, and then I can figure out what to do. Usually people are just like all people who don't like social media
Yeah.
and people who don't like to post. And I always tell them to, I always find something they like to do, and then I will tell them to do that. But yeah, I don't force them. I am just like, why don't you try this? I always have ideas. But, and I'm always like, if you don't feel like doing it, just don't do it. But
Yeah.
you will have to post at some point, though.
You have to do things that you don't like to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to.
Sometimes. Yeah.
But some people can't. Social
Yeah.
media is tough for some people, and I get
I can
that.
already picture myself as like the crotchety old woman that I will for sure become, being like, what is this new platform? I don't know what this is, and I don't want to get involved in it. Like, I know I'm going to be that person where, like, 20 years from now, there's going to be like 3 different social media platforms that have popped up, and I'm going to be like, no.
Too many apps.
I'm just, you know what? Instagram is going to become what Facebook is now for us, and I'm just going to be like, I'll just stick to Instagram.
Yeah. Instagram and TikTok for me now. You don't have the choice.
Yeah.
But still, it's so hard to be seen,
Yeah.
especially on Instagram for some reason. But yeah.
It's everywhere. I think you just do your best and you post what you want to post. I think for me the nice thing has been that I've discovered that I really enjoy editing videos. Maybe not, not for hours and hours at a time, but I do enjoy being able to say like, hey, if I'm going to promote something, I'm going to have someone else get the footage, like, to bring the camera, record me, do whatever. But then I love to get the footage and then just play around with it myself and have that be kind of a learning experience. So, it's like, oh, well, if this video doesn't get a whole bunch of views, then that sucks. But also, I learned how to color grade, so it doesn't really matter because I learned how to do something fun from like making the video. So it's nice when you're getting something out of the content creation rather than just like doing it because it has to get views or succeed or something.
Yeah. Fuck views.
Fuck views, honestly. Yeah. And it's always the worst things that get the most views. Like, you spend so much time doing something and it's like good and important and it gets like 200 views, and then you like post yourself tripping over your own shoe. It's like 2 million views and you're like,
Exactly.
okay, that's great.
Yeah, I always post those meaningful videos on TikTok and thoughtful and emotional, but it's not funny enough. I'm not funny.
I'm not good at being funny either. I don't think, yeah.
I am in general in life, but I'm not on TikTok.
And I think it depends on the kind of person you are too, because I feel like the people that do really well on social media are the people that share a lot, even just like overshare. Honestly, they just kind of talk about themselves and their life and the people in their life, and they're so open on social media. And I'm always like, man, I wish I could do that, but I just am not that kind of person that wants to share every detail of my life with the internet, you know? And so it's always really hard to find that balance, because in my personal life, I love talking and sharing, and I will send my best friends a 20-minute audio about what I had for breakfast. But that's for my friends, you know? I'm not gonna sit there and post it on the internet. I probably should, but
Yeah,
it's
and
just,
you didn't talk about your cancer until recently.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna, but then, and it's basically what I said in the video. I was like, enough people knew that I was sort of losing track about like who I had told and who I hadn't told. People are gonna see the scar. So I was like, I should probably just like say something. And then also, as I'm recovering, I'm wanting to share things about it. And it would be crazy to just like open one of my Instagram stories and be like, so cancer. Like I was like, I need to make a post about it, so that it's not just like blindsiding someone. But yeah, and I think this is the content brain in me, but I think part of me was also like, I also felt kind of guilty about the fact that I had kind of ignored my social media for a few months. And so in my brain, I was like, I have to have a good excuse. I got cancer. I think that's a pretty good excuse, but
Yep, definitely.
So there was something in my brain that was like, I need to like say something. I need to provide an explanation.
And
But
was it hard to record that video?
no, I've never really cared about keeping it a secret or keeping it on the down low. Like I wasn't sure how I was gonna react, honestly. Like I wasn't sure if I was gonna be one of those people that talked about it to whoever the heck I wanted, or one of those people that wanted to keep it more private. I think I don't care about talking about it. I'm fine with, anybody that asks, anybody that wants to know, I'll throw it into conversation. Like it's not something that I want to keep a secret, but it's more like I do want to try and mitigate how people respond to it, because everybody responds to cancer in a different way. And that's been the most interesting part. When I posted that video, I almost turned the comments off, because I was like, social media is so weird, and I don't want people to see it and feel like they have to comment because, oh, it's a serious video. Like people will, like, if I don't comment, it seems like I don't care. And it's like, man, if you don't care, don't comment. Like, it's okay. Like, it's fine, Or if you want to text me, you can just text me. Like, you can DM me. Like, I almost turned the comments off because I was like, I don't want people to feel weirdly socially obligated to care, I guess, about this thing that has been happening to me. But I didn't, because I wanted people to, if they wanted to comment, I wanted people to have a place to do that. But the interesting part has definitely just been other people, because some people react and they're like, oh, like my friend had that, or like my mom had that, and they're super chill about it. And so then I almost get more worked up, because I'm like, yes, but this is terrifying. Like, please make a bigger deal about it. But then some people hear the word cancer and they're like, they talk to you like you're on your deathbed. And I'm like, whoa, like, it's fine. Everything's great. And I immediately just lighten up. And so it's been a very weird, it's just been very weird, like talking to other people about it. Yeah.
The ones who are super chill about it, come on.
Well, it's interesting because, it's not a serious, I mean, all cancer is serious, but on the scale of cancer, it's like, it's really not that serious. And so that's also a really interesting thing to have to deal with in your brain, because it's like, there's no chemo, there's no permanent effects on your life. The surgery went well. Everything is totally fine. This happens to people all the time. So it's not that serious. But then meanwhile, like me and my brain and my body are like dealing with so much fear.
Exactly.
Like, and so it feels very serious. Yeah. So I understand the people that are chill about it, but then I also understand the people that are like very serious about it. It's just somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle, I think, is the good,
Yeah.
good balance.
Because it's okay to feel scared and overwhelmed when you get a diagnosis like that. Even with my disease, people were super chill about that. They were like, oh, everybody has it. And I'm like, no, it's super scary because you have to deal with this your entire life. And you have symptoms all the time. So that is scary. And it's okay to not feel okay sometimes.
I think it's very hard to, I feel like especially when you're still like young, because I think everyone pictures having health problems at some point in their life, but they always think that it's going to be later.
Later, yeah.
And so I think it's interesting when you get some sort of diagnosis when you're still like pretty young, because you have to deal with this idea of like your body not cooperating in a way that you really haven't experienced yet. You know, it's not like you're in your 60s and you're used to the idea that like if you don't get a full night's sleep, you're not going to be really functional the next day, or like you just have to deal with like medications and other things. Like, yes, you expect all of that as your body gets older. But when your body is still in like a prime time of your life and suddenly it just is not cooperating, you're like, what? I haven't had to deal with this before. Like, I don't know how to process this. And then it's a permanent thing. And you're like, okay, how do I deal with that? How do I wrap my brain around that? Yeah.
Crazy. Let's try to stay healthy.
Yeah, let's try to stay healthy, you know? Let's do our best. Let's try to go to doctor's appointments. I feel like that was a huge takeaway. 'Cause,
Yeah, you kind of learned about it by accident.
Yeah, and the fact that, I'm a musician, I don't have like one single full-time job that gives me benefits. So a lot of people that are in my position, they either don't have health insurance, or if they're like me, they go out and get like a marketplace insurance, because I'm a little bit of a health freak. Like I've always been someone that's kind of scared of like doctors and diseases and things. I'm just a little weird about that stuff, especially since COVID. And so I always knew, I was like, okay, it doesn't matter if my work won't give me insurance. I will go get my own insurance because I want to keep up with doctor's appointments and keep up with all of those things. I want to go to regular checkups. But so many people in my life who are, colleagues and friends and other people in the industry don't, because they're just, they're healthy. They're in their 20s. Their job doesn't give them insurance. So whatever.
Yeah. They just wait until something happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, like, in my case, like, I would not have known that something was going wrong until probably way too late in the game. Like, until it would really have been a problem,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been my biggest thing. So I'm like, everybody go and get health insurance and go to the doctor like at least once a year. Just because you never know what they're going to find.
Exactly. Anyway, last question.
Okay.
Do you have any message or advice for anyone going through that same cancer?
Oh, you don't have to hold it in, I think is my biggest advice. Because again, with this whole process, I think one of the most difficult things to deal with mentally, like obviously I was concerned for my voice because I'm a singer, but I know that statistically that's not a huge concern. And I also know that not everybody that goes through this is a singer. So like not everyone's going to be equally concerned. But I think one thing that's true across the board is that it's very weird to get cancer and then have to deal with the fact that you feel like it's very serious, but objectively, medically, it's not very serious. And the back and forth of that can feel very restricting sometimes, because you feel like maybe you shouldn't make a huge deal about it, like publicly to other people. And so I think that the biggest thing that helped me was just saying, fuck it. And, you know, if I want to be upset about it, I'm going to be upset about it. And I have been pleasantly surprised by how much people care and the response that I've gotten back from just being open about it and being open about the fact that I don't really want to hold this in right now. I'm actually really upset. I'm just going to be upset, and that's okay. I think that's been the biggest helpful thing, is just being honest about how upset you are and letting other people respond to that.
Yep. It's okay to be upset.
It's okay to be upset.
And it's normal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm so excited. I have cancer, you know?
So happy.
Wow, that was my biggest dream. Finally.
I know, right? Finally.
Come on now.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for listening to this conversation. If you listened to every episode, then you know that I have Graves' disease, and I did talk about it briefly in some episodes. Even though I've been learning a lot about thyroid issues during my healing process, I really wanted to have a guest who could talk a bit more about it to understand it even more. But the lesson learned is this: it's okay to not feel okay. It's okay to feel upset. You don't have to feel guilty for feeling sad or anxious or overwhelmed. I did feel that way when I had my diagnosis because I didn't have cancer, and I felt like I was complaining about it. But I did feel sad and anxious and alone. Your emotions are valid. Dealing with the diagnosis is not something you are ready to deal with. It's not something that you are trained to do. And people deal with this in a different way. But yeah, please know that it's okay to not feel okay. Alright, see you soon, and please take care of your mind.